Welcome back, everyone. Ready to dive into something pretty fascinating. We're talking about the game of Go. It's been around forever, but we're seeing a real surge of interest lately.
Yeah, especially at universities. I've heard it's really taken off.
Right. Like at Shimane University, Hiroshima University, Okayama University. We've even got a little first-hand account from Michi's adventure
Oh, yeah.
at the Shimane University Festival. Remember Michi from, mention the name of the channel the listener is presumed to be familiar with?
Yeah.
This was their first time actually playing Go against another person.
Wow. There's something so different about playing against a real person. It's not like playing against AI at all.
Not even close.
Even something as advanced as AlphaGo, which we've talked about before.
Exactly. And speaking of which, for anyone who needs a quick refresher on the basics, we have covered this before. What are the fundamental rules of Go? What were we getting into with AlphaGo?
So at its core, Go is all about placing these black and white stones on a grid, right? A 19 by 19 grid. And basically, you're just trying to control more territory than the other player.
Sounds deceptively simple.
Oh, it is. And it really brings this point home. It talks about how such simple rules can create this incredible depth of strategy.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
So we've got the basic idea, but what makes Go so unique? What are some of the key elements?
Well, there's this whole concept of capturing. You're basically surrounding your opponent's stones.
Oh, okay.
And when you completely enclose them, they're captured. So it's like the strategic territorial battle.
It's like a siege.
Exactly. But then there's the co-rule. This rule prevents endless capturing back and forth, adds a whole other layer.
A co-rule. So easy to overlook, but it can completely change the game. Can you imagine Michi trying to handle all this for the first time in that festival setting?
I can only imagine. The sounds, the atmosphere, and then that intense focus on the board.
It's like stepping into a different world.
It is. And Ayers really captures this. Michi talks about how each click of the stones just takes on a whole new meaning.
Wow. It must have been such a stark contrast to playing against a computer,
Absolutely. With a human, you have that unspoken communication, that back and forth.
That's right. Like you can't help but react to your opponent.
You're reading their body language, trying to anticipate their next move. It's a mental game as much as anything else.
Like a silent conversation, but played out on the board with every move.
Exactly. And speaking of unspoken things, Ikayu touches on how Michi sensed this cultural aspect of the game too.
Oh, right. That sense of etiquette, that respect between the players.
Right.
And that's so central to Japanese culture, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Beginning and ending with courtesy. It's like that principle is woven into the fabric of the game itself.
Absolutely. It really makes you think about what sets Go apart from other competitive games. It's something we should definitely discuss more. It really is fascinating how Go reflects those broader values. It's this space where you have this intense competition, but also deep respect for your opponent. You have to balance that strategic brilliance with, like you said, that sense of etiquette, that tradition.
It's true. It
Yeah.
really makes you wonder what keeps people coming back to Go for centuries.
Yeah.
Like what is it about this game that has such enduring appeal across generations and cultures? Jack actually digs into that a little bit.
Yeah, one thing it points out is just how universal the game is. It doesn't matter how old you are, your background, where you're from, anyone can learn to play.
That's so cool.
Once you get those basic rules, it's like you've entered this world of strategy, like you're speaking a universal language.
I love that. Instead of words, you're using black and white stones to communicate.
Exactly. And what's amazing is the amount of creativity within that language. It's unbelievable. Six talks about how there are more possible board configurations in Go than atoms in the observable universe.
You're kidding.
It's mind-blowing.
Like every time you play, you're creating something totally new. It's like this strategic story unfolding on the board.
Exactly. And each match is a testament to the creativity of the players. And of course, let's not forget that psychological aspect we touched on earlier. You have to be able to read your opponent, anticipate their moves, while also concealing your own strategy.
Right. Like it's a constant back and forth, a dance almost.
It really is. There's this great analogy that describes Go as a conversation without words. Each move is like a sentence building towards a whole story.
Wow, I love that. So going back to Michi, I wonder how their Go journey unfolded after that first experience at the festival. Did they get hooked? Did it spark that desire to really delve into the game?
I'd like to think so. Imagine you're caught up in that first match. You feel the excitement, the challenge. You realize there's this whole world of strategy to uncover.
Right.
Maybe they went and found a local Go club, to test out their skills.
Or maybe just dove into online resources, started studying those classic strategies.
Exactly. There are so many possibilities. And that actually brings us to another point that Chukin off highlights, which is the sense of community that surrounds Go, this amazing ability to connect people.
It's amazing how something as simple as a board game can bring people together like that.
Right. Like it creates this shared experience, this common ground. And it's not just about having fun, it's mentally engaging too.
It is. You have to think strategically, stay patient, and try to anticipate what your opponent's going to do.
Mm,
I bet those skills come in handy outside the game, too, don't you think?
totally. I mean, to be good at Go, you really have to understand the other player's mindset. Like you have to see the board from their perspective, understand their motives.
It's like you're stepping into their shoes for a bit.
Exactly. Trying to figure out what they're going to do next, and how you can counter that.
Makes you wonder if all that practice with empathy, with perspective taking, if that carries over into other parts of life.
It's an interesting thought. Maybe that's part of what makes Go so fascinating. It's more than just moving stones around. It's this journey of self-discovery, a mental challenge, and just a really elegant game.
Absolutely. It definitely adds another layer to Michi's story, doesn't it?
It does.
Who knows, maybe that festival was just the beginning of their Go journey.
Maybe. And who knows, maybe this deep dive will spark that same curiosity in some of our listeners.
That would be incredible. So whether you're looking to challenge yourself strategically, experience a new culture, or just unplug for a bit and engage in something mindful, Go is definitely worth checking out.
And it's easier than ever to get started these days. There are so many online platforms, local Go clubs. You can even just grab a board and some stones and start playing.
Exactly. So until next time, may your strategies be sound, your moves bold, and your games filled with the joy of discovery.